Hello everyone, hope you're having an excellent day today. I'm doing pretty good. We have some more Tron progress to show you all today, though not as much as I would have hoped. I ran into a couple of issues and had to backtrack a bit, but let's dive in and see what happened. In the last video, I showed you guys a couple of nearly completed landscape chunks and roads. I discovered that the small fairy lights that I had inside the build were not working or starting to stop working. Specifically the blue lights inside the RGB fairy lights, the blue out of the red and green and blue was stopping working. So when I set it to light blue, nothing showed up. And that's a big problem when you have each chunk really relying on that bright blue light. I found out that I would have to remove and replace each of the fairy lights in each of the chunks that I had installed up to that point. A couple of these lights had gone out and that was suggesting quite a bit of a pattern, and I need a reliable blue light source inside the city streets to make this Tron build look exactly the way I want it. I think these fairy lights failed due to simply age and the amount of use that they had been put through. After a couple conventions attended and multiple years in use, it just makes sense that these would finally kind of wear out. Thankfully, it is pretty easy to order new lights on Amazon. Unfortunately, I did have to spend an entire day replacing just some of the lights, removing and adding the new ones in their place, so I still have a bit of reno work to do left over. The new lights are a bit brighter, which is nice, but they also are a bit larger in volume per little bead of light, which means it takes a little longer to integrate them into the build because they're a little more difficult to manipulate into the various spots they need to be. My channel members got to see a preview of this a week ago, and they were kindly reminding me that it was much better to discover this issue now when everything's being built and still very flexible versus when everything's 100% complete, especially at a convention. Yeah, it's great to discover that now. Those issues aside, I did make substantial progress on the Tron landscape itself, gotten further than I have before, even with redoing multiple large sections. The design of the roads is looking increasingly good to me. I think it's just really turning out well. Super excited about its appearance, and the parts are lasting okay. I think I'll probably have to order a few more tiles, but not too bad. Those are relatively easy to get even on Lego.com. I've also started solidifying both physically and in my mind where all these skyscrapers are going to be placed, building out some foundations and getting those measured out correctly. It's very exciting to see that. It's worth mentioning the new lights also have some crazy wild light modes that you can set them to. And before I show you guys a clip, I want to warn anyone with epileptic sensitivity to look away for just a minute. This could probably be a little bit too intense for some viewers. But man, I was trying this out the other night with Steven. He was super impressed, and that's a good sign because he's seen a lot of Lego lights before. And yeah, it's insane. I'm probably going to use these crazy rainbow lights fairly sparingly out in events and conventions. Going to keep it to that light blue most of the time. But I'll hopefully have a video of it in party mode here on the channel. You guys can watch at any time. There's of course still a lot to be done. I'm glad I was able to catch the light issue early, so we're not too far off track, but definitely want to make a few bigger strides towards completing the landscape and getting some more progress on the skyscrapers. Before we wrap this up, I want to thank everyone for your really awesome response to the last video. There were a ton of kind comments, especially in regards to using non-Lego stuff like base plates and lights. I really appreciate all the kind words. There were also a couple of great comments that I think deserved a particular response in this video because it kind of created more of a conversation and describes more about the Tron project. The first one here says, I was wondering though, did you ever think of putting in an overhead tram or train above one of your roadways like in the second movie? Not sure if it would add or take away from your design. I was just curious. Keep up the great work, and hopefully you have enough black brick to finish that one tower. Thank you very much, and yeah, I hope I have enough black bricks too. I was thinking about doing bridges and trains and stuff like that, because you see a little bit of that in Tron, and a little bit of that even in the first Tron movie with the Solar Sailor, and in the second one of course too. So the problem is a solar sailor is like way bigger than you'd think. It's almost like an airplane. It has a huge tram system for it. So probably can't do a minifig scale one, but maybe a micro scale one in the back. I don't know about a full like monorail or overhead tram in the city. It's just not really in the plan right now. However, I'm planning on having a small bridge over one of the roadways for foot traffic. It'll be about 16 by 32 in size. And so that's just going to be minifigs standing on that. But it will be not a small bridge, it'll be a little bridge there. So that will be cool to see. Hopefully I can incorporate a little bit more, things horizontally higher up. We'll see how it goes. I'll definitely keep experimenting. My brother definitely encouraged me to add a solar sailor somewhere. So maybe I can do a small one in the background, kind of overarching the whole thing. We'll see. Next comment I wanted to bring up was, well done, dude. The style is spot on. Looks exactly how I'd imagine it. Absolutely, thank you. Are you going to keep the surface of the building simple or spice it up with lots of greebling? Simple seems to fit the style, but greebling could be interesting. I appreciate the comment, thank you very much. Greebling is adding textural details to a sci-fi creation, for those who don't know. But I was thinking about greebling. My brother actually was saying the same thing. He's like, are you going to do any greebling, some details? And I think in some areas it would totally make sense. However, I think you've also kind of realized the style of Tron is pretty sleek. There's not too much texture. It seems to be very kind of smooth, metallic, slate kind of textures going on. But I'll see how much texture I can incorporate. That would definitely help reduce the amount of tiles I need and how many I would have to order more of in future pieces I'm going to be building. Last comment to talk about before we wrap this up. The buildings look amazing. Something to add on top would be antennas with lights. Definitely planning a few antennas on some of the taller towers. Will there be a main central building from the Tron Legacy movie? I think you're talking about when Sam is riding on the light cycle into town and there's this big kind of pyramid looking building. If that's the correct scene I'm thinking of, let me know. Probably nothing that big from the movie itself. I was kind of hoping to have most of the buildings be original or somewhat generic to the Tron universe. The one building that I was really planning on and hoping to create was the digital version of Flynn's Arcade, where Sam gets into Tron through Flynn's and he walks out of a Flynn's Arcade in the Tron world. The only difficulty in that would be kind of creating illuminated lighting, which would be kind of a tricky thing to do at that scale. But if I can figure that out, I would have a little Flynn's Arcade in the corner, adding a bit of Tron lore to this particular city skyline. That's about all we have to talk about today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you want to help support the LEGO Tron project, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm. And you can even support me on memberships now. Tiers start at 99 cents a month, so hopefully everyone who wants to can afford to join. I've been Mark, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.